What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another Hasbro Vintage Collection Market Update. And wow, do we have some amazing figures today. As I alluded to in my video yesterday, a number of AFA-graded store exclusives and mail-aways and SDCC exclusives all ended at auction. And I pulled all those up along with a few others that I think you'd find interesting. And we're going to start right with the heart of the issue. And this is the highest priced TVC ungraded figure that I know of on record. So this is an unpunched VC20 Hasbro Canada Yoda. So as you guys all know, if you follow TVC closely, we all know that this is a fairly high demand figure. And they've kind of been averaging $800 to $900. And one of the things that I've talked about in past videos is what is going to be the first figure to sell for over $1,000 ungraded. And my original prediction in a live stream, I believe it was Ahsoka, and I was nowhere close. So this is the one. This is the one that I think takes the cake. And to my knowledge, this is the highest price that I've seen recorded for an ungraded TVC figure. And this one was absolutely gorgeous. It had some light kind of scuffing or something going on below the age EDAD thing there, but it is unpunched, and I think that's what drove the price up. So this is the Canadian Yoda. You can see the multi-language name pill there. Just one of those items that's kind of one of the holy grails for the vintage collection line. And you know, I'm excluding the SDCC exclusives like the Mouse Droid and the Salacious Crumb, which we'll cover a little bit later on because a couple of those actually did sell at auction last night. But in terms of, you know, standard release figures, I have not seen anything that sold this high. And, you know, I'd call this probably an 85 plus grade, depending on if those scuffs below the age on the front would come off or not. But it was otherwise very, very clean. There was 25 bids. This closed yesterday. $1,478 US was the final sales price, plus another $24 shipping. So you're talking $1,500 before eBay taxes. For me, that would have been $1,650 to buy this. Now, I want to put this in perspective here. All right. So admittedly, I bought these, you know, late last year and into early this year, but I've got three vintage Kenner ones. I've got a vintage Kenner Sakuda, Japanese Yoda that is yellowed, but an AFA-80. I've got a tri-logo Palitoy Yoda that is CAS-80. And then I've got a 32 back Empire Strikes Back Yoda that is CAS-80. Now for all three of those, plus the grading cost, plus shipping to and back and all that good stuff, I paid less for all three of those combined than what this sold for. So that just gives you an idea of how popular or in demand this is with higher end collectors. And just an amazing number. And you know, that's a good solid, let's call it about 60% higher than the last sales price that I'm aware of for this Canadian VC20. So that's a pretty stupefying number. But I just thought I had to include that one. I believe the rest of these are all graded that I'm going to show. They're all from the Jeff's Collectibles Empire on eBay, but I had to start with that one because that was an absolutely astounding number. All right, so let's dig into all of the AFA graded examples that sold yesterday, and we're going to start with some of the 3-packs. And this 3-pack went for a big number, but the grade reflects it. This is an uncirculated 90 Imperial set 3-pack, and it's got 4-LOM, the AT driver, as well as the TIE Fighter palette. Unpunched, really nice. Again, you know, some of these just look like they have dust and so forth on the case, but that one sold for $510 plus shipping. So 14 bids, big number, but I believe all three of these 3-packs that sold were uncirculated. So this was another U90. And I don't think these were, you know, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. These apparently were not Target exclusives. Some of them were Target exclusives, but this one doesn't have the Target sticker on there. So I'm assuming this was just a regular release, but this is the Bespin Alliance set that has the Bespin Wingguard, Lando, and then Luke Bespin. That one sold for $162.50. That's a little bit more reasonable of a number. And how ugly is that Bespin wing guard? I've always noticed it, but never talked about it in a video. But that is one ugly figure. The Lando's not bad, but clearly some upgrades are needed for the upcoming TVC release. And that Luke's not terrible, but that Bespin wing guard might be one of the uglier figures I've seen in a while. The Hoth Rebels set, we got Han Solo, the Hoth Rebel Trooper, and then an FX7. That FX7 is a gorgeous figure. Again, this one was also U90. And that one also sold for $152.50. So 2 of the 3 of these sold for a pretty good number. But apparently the Imperial set is the one that people really want, because that one went way big. And now I'll be really curious if they had the Bosk, the one with, I think it was Bosk and IG-88, if that one was in the same grade as part of this auction. I would love to know what that would sell for. My guess is that would sell for even higher than this $510 number. That's one that even ungraded can sell for, $200 plus very regularly. And I'd be very curious to know what that would sell for graded in uncirculated 90. I've got a few other just regular releases before we dig in at the end towards some other exclusives, SDCC and otherwise. But the price ranges were all over the place. And for, again, this goes back to one of my talking points, that when you have a large batch of TVC from the same seller all ending at the exact same time, you can often find some pretty decent deals. And a number of these sold for below where I would expect them to sell if there wasn't so much other hot stuff being sold at the same time. And, this is not one I'm particularly interested in, but I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. But these are the Pod Racers. And this one was an AFA 9.0. That one sold for $84 plus shipping. I mean, that's a great number for a graded AFA graded item. The Gungan Warrior, this one sold. We've very regularly in these updates that I put out, we've very regularly seen this one ungraded sell for more than what this sold for graded. And this one was a high grade too, a 9.25. So that's a 90 plus grade. But the Gungan Warrior only sold for $91 plus shipping, and that's a fantastic deal. Whoever picked that one up. Another amazing deal was this unpunched Qui-Gon Jinn, just a beautiful figure and high grade 9.0. That one only sold for $107.50. That was an absolute steal in my opinion for a fantastic card back. Nominor, you can love him or hate him, but to me, I'd like to get him just because I like these expanded universe figures, and that card back is pretty epic. Whether he looks like He-Man's nemesis or not, I thought that was a pretty good deal. $115 plus $15 shipping. That's a pretty nice deal for a 9.0 grade. And again, we've talked about R.S. Singh and how she kind of is creeping up. And for a 9.0, already graded, you got it for $117.50. We've seen her very regularly sell for $140 ungraded. So that was another fantastic deal. So there were some deals to be had. There were some deals to be had during this auction lot, and all of those I thought were great prices. This is one that surprised me. I wasn't expecting this one to go as high. I would have expected this one to be kind of more in the $85 range, like the other Pod Racer. But Mahonic, I'm sure that I'm mangling his name, but the Reese looking Pod Racer, that one sold for $127.50, so that was a little higher than I expected, but pretty cool card back. Now we're going to start digging into some a little bit higher prices, but we got the mail away Boba Fett prototype. This one was 9.0, so it was not uncirculated, which is this one's fairly easy to get uncirculated because it came in a sealed mailer that people will send in. But this is the mail order exclusive Proto Armor Boba Fett. That one sold for $206.58 plus shipping, and that's probably in line. I mean, for an uncirculated, I've seen them sell $225, even maybe $250. So ungraded, that it seems the magic number is about $130. So not a terrible price there for the Proto Armor Boba Fett. Aayla Secura, another one that went pretty high on the list. This had 16 bids that also sold, and $218.50 took that one home, and that one was a little higher grade, so I can understand why that one was maybe a little higher than where we've seen her sell recently. But $218.50 for a 9.25 grade. Ponda Baba, man, this one went. I've seen the Canadian Ponda Baba reach this price ungraded. I've seen it sell for $200 ish for an ungraded Canadian, but this is the U.S. card. Had the Proto Boba Fett sticker on it, and that one sold for a big number, but it was, you know, a 9.25 grade, so very, very high grade. Just an awesome card back. But, you know, I think with that sticker on there, it kind of takes away from it a little bit because you can't see his ugly face fully. But anyway, that one sold for $235 and change plus shipping. But a really, really nice item, 9.25, so really high grade. This one was a little bit of sticker shock for me, but I will say this: I expected, but in my mind, I expected this one to sell for about $500. And this is the Expanded Universe Republic Trooper, but it was really high grade. It was a 9.5. So, you know, again, it's on the modern scale, so you don't know how it got there, but it looked absolutely flawless. And, you know, whether it won the vote from the vault or not, people are willing to pay up for this original issue Republic Trooper in high grade, and that sold for $468. So a big number, but it actually came in slightly lower than where I expected. I think my number was $500 as I was watching that auction play out. And then we got a couple of exclusives. This is the foil logo con exclusive Zuckuss, a U90 grade. This one is unpunched. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that all these foils always came unpunched, even the Zuckuss and the Forlom. The Forlom I'll show you in a second, but this one had the 3-tier grading, which is nice, and that one sold for $162.50, and that's where I expected the Forlom to sell, but it didn't. It sold for quite a bit more. So this one again is the foil that came in that 2-pack in kind of an enclosed little box, and that one was U90, card 90. Blister 85, figure 90, and that one sold for $385. So quite a bit more than the Zuckuss sold for. But man, what an awesome item. It really looks beautiful in that case. 30 bids on that one, and $385 took that one home. Now we're going to finish off with the 3 big boys, and the prices, you know, I knew they were going to go high, all right, but I was really surprised at how high they did go. And Jar Jar Binks and Carbonite, the SDCC exclusive, you know, this one had the 3-tier grading, which was also really nice. So you had the SDCC exclusives, and these 3 exclusives that we're going to go through have always typically been the highest priced, but Yoda has, in my mind, surpassed it, just given that was a regular retail release versus these exclusives. But this one had the 3-tier grading. It scored 90, and it sold for big money, $12.35 plus shipping. So probably going to be outside of anything I'm willing to spend on these, but it was a really awesome item. I can't tell if right in here if that is on the case or what, but it's got kind of a weird scratch going on there. I'm assuming that's on the case, but or it might just be a reflection from taking the photos. I'm not sure on that, but it did not seem to affect the prices at all, or the bidding at all. At 20 bids, $12.35 took that one home. Big number. Now, this was really interesting to me. So the mouse droid, and we'll go over Salacious Crumb in a second, but they were graded in standard size cases. So that's the first time I've ever seen this for these. You know, these are obviously really small card backs for these 2. So this is the SDCC Revenge of the Jedi mouse droid 9.0, but it was graded in a standard mint on card size case. So it looks a little wonky to me. I don't know. I mean, it just looks kind of strange having it in these big cases. As you guys know, Boss Bounty had his 2 graded by UKG, and they put them in cases that fit the figure. And I know that the Collector Archive Services does the same thing, but I guess this is how AFA does it. I can't say off the top of my head that I've seen the mouse droid or Salacious Crumb graded by AFA before until these. But in an auction, this one sold for $1,240, and I wanted to show you the bids on this one because if memory serves, the bidding really went pretty wild towards the end there. Well, no, it didn't. The last time I checked it must have been kind of like yeah. So it roughly at in the afternoon it was about 740, 750, and then in the evening it started creeping up. It went from 740 to 750. It was where it sat all day yesterday, and then it went to 800, 875, 945, and then by about 5:30 it hit 1215, and then right before the auction ended, it went from 1215 to 1240. But it's pretty incredible that, you know, pretty much all day yesterday. It sat at about 740, 750, and then by the end of the afternoon, it jumped all the way up to 1240. So, but a pretty big number for that one. And then we also had, to finish it off, we had the Salacious Crumb SDCC exclusive. Again, it was graded in the standard size case, so it just looks, I mean, to me, it just looks a little strange, but that's how AFA does it. But that one was a 9.0 as well, and that one sold for $1,300 plus shipping. So, you know, I'm not particularly surprised by those three exclusives, but I think that out of all of these, the one I'm most shocked by is the Yoda, that TVC Canadian Yoda, selling for $14.78 ungraded. That's easily the highest price. And, you know, I'd love to hear in the comments below what, you know, what y'all's memory is from any ungraded TVC. And, you know, let's exclude the SDCC or any kind of store exclusives or mailaways, things like that. But to my knowledge, this is the new highest price ever for an ungraded retail release vintage collection figure. And it blows away every other kind of data point that we've talked about in the past. So if you're new to the channel, welcome, and consider subscribing. I try to put out these market updates at least once a week. And for my existing subscribers, as well as my Patreon supporters, I just want to say thanks as always for the channel support. And I just want to say thank you again for watching, and I'll be back soon.